Do y'all ever catch yourself asking how so-and-so is able to afford a trip to several countries in Europe, Africa, or how they seem to be in a new city every other month? Well, apart from potentially being a sugar baby, right, or doing some unsavory things in Dubai, there is another possibility that they might be committing fraud, similar to reality television stars Todd and Julie Chrisley, who have recently been found guilty of bank fraud and tax evasion charges.
You don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal.
We have the tapes. We have the information.
There have been reports of you having said, just fix it, fix these documents.
That's not true.
In a year, we probably spend $300,000, sometimes more, just on clothing.
Here are individuals that have lived this lavish lifestyle in the public eye and are still lying and stealing to get it. I think that can have a huge impact on a juror's final decision.
Who are popular on their reality TV show, Chrisley Knows Best. In the 2014 pilot episode of USA Network's Chrisley Knows Best, Todd and Julie Chrisley showed off their 30,000 square foot home in a wealthy neighborhood north of Atlanta. The couple alleged they came from humble beginnings and made their fortune in real estate.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
They've been quoted as saying that in a year, we probably spend $300,000, sometimes more, just on clothing. Just on clothing. Now, as a minimalist, like myself, this sounds absolutely absurd. But of course, LLC Twitter will argue, oh, it's probably a business tax write-off because it involves a reality TV show and blah, blah, blah. But like, in reality, that money could be used for so much better. And prosecutors argue that the couple earned most of their money through fraudulent means in the years leading up to their first season. The Chrisleys had been conspiring to defraud banks of more than $30 million in loans, according to a criminal case filed against them in 2019. A federal jury on Tuesday found the couple guilty of fraud and tax evasion. Julie was also found guilty of wire fraud and obstruction of justice. She and her husband each faced up to 30 years in prison. Will they get all 30 years? Probably not. But I'm gonna say at least 5 or 2 or 3. At least 2. I'm gonna say at least 2 at the minimum.
It's obvious what's being done out here. It's on a nightly basis. I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Yes, man. This is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
And of course, this is all done possible with an A1 quality accountant that helps you toe the line of ethics. Their accountant, Peter Tarantino, was also found guilty of several tax crimes, including conspiring to defraud the IRS. And Kerry Farley, special agent in charge of FBI Atlanta, said in a news release, as today's outcome shows, when you lie, cheat, and steal, justice is blind as to your fame, your fortune, and your position. But, as expected, Todd and Chrisley's attorneys will seek to appeal the current verdict. Essentially, prosecutors argue the Chrisleys defrauded financial institutions over about a 5-year period starting around 2007.
You don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal.
We have the tapes. We have the information.
There have been reports of you having said, just fix it, fix these documents.
That's not true.
In a year, we probably spend $300,000, sometimes more, just on clothing.
On several occasions, the couple presented banks with false documents, such as fabricated bank statements listing inflated account balances, personal financial statements containing false information about available funds, false invoices, and false audit paperwork. And in 2007, Todd submitted false paperwork to Merrill Lynch, a bank, that showed he had $4 million with the bank, despite the Chrisleys not having an actual account at the time, according to court documents. As a result of false representations like these, a number of banks issued the conspirators millions of dollars in loans, much of which Todd and Julie Chrisley used for their own personal benefit. And you see how there's a cycle of faking it long enough until you actually make it. They do have arguably one of the most watched TV shows on USA Network.
I'm a psychologist, nigga. You don't think I can read you? I'm a psychologist, nigga. You don't think I can read right through your phony ass?
The couple will use the money to buy designer clothes, real estate, and luxury cars, and to fund their travels. And of course, they used the loans to pay off existing debts. And they went on to file bankruptcy in 2012 while pocketing $20 million they received from the fraudulently obtained loan. You get the loans fraudulently, then you file for bankruptcy so you don't have to pay those loans. And then, the cycle continues. Julie went on to continue producing manufactured documents during their bankruptcy proceedings. In 2014, she presented false financial documents to a real estate agent so she could rent a house in Los Angeles. And to no one's surprise, the family was later evicted from the home in LA for failing to pay rent. Todd and Julie, along with their accountant, began conspiring to defraud the IRS after the family started earning millions from their reality show, prosecutors said. Owing hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS for his 2009 taxes, Todd opened a corporate account in Julie's name called 7 Seas Production. Millions of dollars were deposited into the account to protect Todd from having to pay the money he owed the government, according to court records. The couple also did not file taxes from 2013 to 2016. Todd and Julie Chrisley are just another textbook example of what it means to fake it till you make it, and why you and I, should not be fazed when we see luxurious snaps, luxurious videos of so-and-so living a certain lifestyle. It's one thing to make $1 million, but did you spend $950,000 to make $1 million with a net profit of $50,000? What did you spend how much did you pay in taxes? How much were your other expenses? Did you actually end up losing money? And as you see screenshots and income earnings all throughout social media, ask yourself, how much was the refunds, right? And this is not to say that you should be pessimistic about every single thing you see online, but to take everything with a grain of salt and just question once you've done your little research, right? Once you have your little emergency savings fund of 3 to 6 months, you should be putting your money towards things that can ultimately help you make more money in the future. One of the primary wealth building tools being the S&P 500 index fund. So buyer beware. Do not get lost in the sauce. You see? But as always, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. And too much of any good thing is good for nothing. How you lot doing today? Say it with me. I am doing more, saying less, and keeping that same energy. No, cap. Flip the script. I'm out. Deuces. Bow.
It hit you like bad thing. Looking like good girl. Told me you different, baby. No acting. Haven't you heard of karma? Haven't you heard at all? Bad thing. Looking like centerfold. Told me you different, baby. No acting. Haven't you heard of karma?
No jokes, I'm coming through for you. Been a while since I first knew you perfect, no need to change. Only thing that I wish is there was two. I'll give you something to believe. Girls looking ask how I got one of these. I'm just a guy with my wants and my needs. Girl like you turn a man to police. That's cuffing, never leaving.